Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Coffin Click podcast. I am Jeff, and as always, I'm here with
Juan, Roman,
Justin. How y'all doing?
So this week, we have 3 movies that all involve crying children, and second week in a row where the final scene of the movie involves a flash effect of some sort. We'll get into that a little bit later. Some announcements. This being the second episode, there's not much, but we have a YouTube. You can find us on Spotify. You can actually anywhere that you can find a podcast, you can probably find it. But Spotify, Apple Music, I think we're even on Amazon at this point.
Cool. I have unlimited. I didn't know that.
Good. You can listen to yourself.
Yeah.
And help.
Wow.
But outside of that, the first episode, I'm going to assume that if you clicked on the second episode, you liked the first one, or you have no idea what this is, and you just hopped in the second episode because you're weird. We're looking for people like you,
Or
so
you
it's okay.
saw Godzilla or something.
Hey, I come from the land of weird, so.
One of us.
That's my people.
One of us.
Yeah, one of us. Yep, one.
All right, so
I love one joke.
I know you do. This week we're going to talk. The theme was monsters, so we're gonna review and talk about Monster Squad from 1987, Antlers from 2001,
2021.
2021. I can't read my own notes, and a lot of ones in this too. Godzilla -1, which came out in 2023. So a little bit of everything.
Kaiju monster, lore monster, and 80s ridiculousness monster.
So
Covered a bit of it all.
we really did. Before I jump into the first movie, general reactions for the movies that you hadn't seen from you two guys?
I never seen Monster Squad, and holy God, 80s.
Justin?
Lord help us all.
Justin?
Yes.
Wolfman has nards.
Yes, he does. That is a fact.
I've never
Movie
seen
fact,
Antlers.
but fact.
Was the one I didn't never seen.
I also had not seen Antlers, and being a parent, I could tell you that movie fucked me up.
Oh yeah.
So, speaking of the Monster Squad, we're just going to get into this.
Oh, actually, I didn't see Godzilla either. I didn't see that one before.
Godzilla -1.
At least -1.
Yeah, -1. I've seen Godzilla movies, but not -1.
I'm gonna preface this by I have a lot for Monster Squad, so I'm just gonna get through it, and then I'll save the fun facts after we get done talking about it. So, Monster Squad came out on August 14th, 1987, and it stars Andre Gower as Sean, Robbie Kiger as Patrick, Ryan Lambert as my man Rudy, Brent Challam as Horace. Wolfman's got nerves. I already said that. Stephen Yacht as Dell, or Maked? Anyway, as Dell. Duncan Regger as Count Dracula, and Carl Tybalt as the Wolfman. I'm in the goddamn club, aren't I? That's the coldest line out of this entire movie. And I think that's what made me fall in love with it, too, is Rudy's whole thing. But this movie means a lot to me. So, my son...
Also exceptionally 80s with the latent greaser boy.
Super 80s. So, my son had been up my ass about watching this movie. And that was partially my fault because of my Monster Squad shirt that I got from Creeporama that I'm currently wearing.
Yep, looks very good.
Thank you. I know this is a podcast. You can't see it, and they don't have the shirt anymore, and I got it in a tie-dye. But anyway, shout out Creeporama. But anyway, I digress. So last Friday, I get home, and my kids were on it. Made popcorn and popped it on. This movie, along with a few others, The Lost Boys, Ghostbusters, and Nightmare Before Christmas, have heavily inspired me throughout the years, and here we are now with the Coffin Click. I'm going to get personal again like I did last week. Like I've said before, I didn't have a group that dug the same things I did as me. I was very much a loner when it came to my own hobbies, and seeing a movie like this kind of like, it's like, I wouldn't be in the Monster Squad.
Ha ha ha, that changed.
It really did. And neither of you are allowed to leave. But anyway, so my favorite moment, showing this to my kids at least, was our daughter quickly picked up on when Horace was getting bullied, and Rudy shows up and intervenes. She was ready to stand up for Horace because bullies are bad. She was like, "Ooh, I don't like those too." And I was like, "There you go." She was confused about the Frankenstein parts with Phoebe, and I told her that just because someone is different from you, it doesn't make them a monster. Everyone deserves a chance at kindness and compassion. And then it hit me. I should have done this Avengers style and showed them all the individual Universal monster movies and then showed them Monster Squad.
Yeah.
So the other thing I have about this movie, it broke me. I fell down such a damn rabbit hole. I went to go look up Duncan Regger just to refresh myself, and he's the guy who played Dracula. I found out that he was in a live-action Zorro series in the 90s. So, you know how in Google, like, off to the side, they'll show you, like, other things. Like, you know, I looked up Duncan Regger Zorro, and off to the side, they just show other, like, related things. I was stunned to find out that there was a Zorro anime that first aired in Italy in 1994 before it was broadcasted in Japan 2 years later. I've watched, like, 10 episodes. There's, like, 52. And it is easily the most 90s anime I have ever seen. Not that that has anything to do with this, but that's the rabbit hole that I fell down doing my research. But again, Monster Squad means the world to me. I absolutely love this movie. Rudy's my guy. And I'll say it one more time in case y'all didn't hear it. Wolfman's got nards. So on, what'd you think?
I like this movie a lot. Being a person that was born before this movie came out. Let's just put it that way.
Oh yeah. Let's get that out of the way. I was born the year this movie came out.
Oh, okay. Well, I was born way before this movie came out, but I won't get into right now exactly how old I am. Let's just say I'm the oldest of the three of us. Anyways, I seen this movie when it came out in the 80s. I liked it then. I liked it now with the rewatch. Let's see. Some of my notes I put for those that are listening and have not seen this movie yet and decide to pause and go see this movie before we spoil everything for you. Just be mindful. This is an 80s and 90s movie. They talked way differently back then, so please try not to be offended by some of their language and the way they talked back then. Because a lot of the words that they use would be totally offensive nowadays and is no longer politically correct. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, you sissy, eat the candy bar, fatty.
Well, that, and he uses some derogatory words towards the fat kid, which, being an ex-fat kid,
a PC
back in that
objective
time,
word currently, for sure.
Right, being
Chunk.
a fat kid from back in that time, I was called some of these names, so...
Boo.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
go beat him up.
Boo.
Where's Rudy?
Yeah, exactly.
The alphabet version that is now outlawed.
I gotta say, that did toughen me up though, because as my wife calls me nowadays, she calls me a nerd bully, which means I do not bully nerds.
You just bully the people who bully nerds.
Exactly.
And I'm right there with you on that one.
You bully the garbage people.
Exactly. I bully garbage people. So
if you're a nerd,
I'm a bully's bully.
If you're a nerd who gets bullied, join the Coffin Clique. We won't bully you.
Exactly. You'll be one of us.
In fact, we'll randomly come out of left field with something quite the opposite most days.
Exactly. But besides
you
that
got that, bruv?
Sorry. With that being said, this movie to nowadays movies is really cheesy. All right. As some of the notes I put, it's a lot of plot holes.
We don't talk about those, Juan.
All right, and then and a little bit of cheesy acting.
Listen,
but it is well worth it.
Listen,
it's a good movie.
Van Helsing got the wrong girl. Phoebe settled it. We're fine.
All right. Let's see. Oh, and then another note I put on here, random. Why is the mummy in the closet when he was in the swamp just a few minutes earlier?
He moves quick.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay,
The
he went from the
kid
swamp
had
into
Egyptian
the
stuff in the
kids-
closet. I don't know.
Right,
I love that
exactly.
scene
I was
too.
like-
The dad's like, monsters don't exist. Doors open, fucking mummy, and the kid's like,
And it's so funny that the dad did not look. I thought that was hilarious.
There's
He's like, ooh, scary monster. That made me laugh.
there's a lot of like good 80s tropes in this
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Let's
Sorry,
see
something's sticking in the back of my head still from earlier. Not to continue on the age thing, but I want to be sad with my youth right now.
Why?
Did you see Empire Strikes Back in the theater?
I don't think so. No. I
Oh
didn't.
damn! I was gonna say that's what I was saying. Like,
Yeah. No,
that's
but
like
I
one of my
actually-
favorite movies of all time because I'm
I
Star
would
Wars
have thrown my-
I'm
obsessed.
so glad you brought that up because I was going to make sure to mention that. Please, everybody, do not let the cinema die. All right, I'm a strong believer of going out and seeing movies at the movie theater. It's an experience. You got to do it. I know a lot of days people like to stream, but if there's a movie that's coming out nowadays, please go see it at the movie theaters. Trust me, it's an experience. Go get your candy, get your popcorn.
And to play devil's advocate, going off of that, I completely agree with Juan. Please save cinema, because if it wasn't for that, I don't think we'd be doing this.
Absolutely
Exactly.
not. We wouldn't be doing
But
it.
like, again, not to play devil's advocate or to split the difference, but just in July alone, there's Superman, and the Fantastic Four,
yeah.
and Jurassic Park.
And then I was gonna say, don't
What
be
year
chicken
is it?
shit. Like they say in the movie, don't be chicken shit. Go to the movies.
Yeah. They didn't say that.
I mean, they didn't say it exactly like that, but that's how I'm saying it. Don't be chicken shit. Go to the movies.
No, and legitimately, like, I know there's a lot of weird opinions and things lately these days, but the big ass screen is still a spectacle. Just
Right,
go
exactly.
to the damn show.
Right, it's an experience. You gotta
To-
enjoy it.
RVD for the second week in a row. The whole damn show is still at the cinema.
And for that, we thank you.
And then also, like you just mentioned it about Frankenstein. Frankenstein, in almost every movie I've seen that had Frankenstein's monster. Sorry, correction.
Frankenstein monster.
Frankenstein's monster. He's always had a soft spot for children. So he's always had it.
Yeah,
in
look
every
at
movie
Young
he's
Frankenstein.
been
I was gonna say, yeah, even in Young Frankenstein,
Yeah.
they bring that trope in about
Yeah.
like the little girl in the
Right, so
seesaw.
like you
Did you
said-
check her bed?
Right, like you said, just because that's the way they are ugly, look scary, however you want to say it, doesn't mean that's what they are on the inside.
Like when he sees the Frankenstein mask, that broke me. Like
Exactly,
I
when
felt
he
so
smacked
bad
it.
for him.
Yeah, when he smacked it.
He's like, this
Yeah,
is
the
you.
whole "I scary,"
Right,
like, yeah,
dude,
like,
you're
that-
not. But
Right.
You're just cool to most weird people like us who do horror podcasts.
Stephen King rules. I love
Yeah,
his
so-
shirt.
Yeah, that shirt is awesome. I even made a comment on that. I was like, man, I want that shirt because Stephen King is awesome.
Yeah. So, like I said, I love this movie. I know it probably wouldn't fly nowadays, but it's still part of our lexicon. So enjoy it for what it is.
Well,
Stay true.
just all the FWGs, I think, would be the only reason.
Justin.
That's very true. Yeah, Justin, what do you think?
I'm gonna say it again. Holy 80s, man. Jeez, oh Pete's. But no, it's really good. I've always liked the Universal monsters, so to see them in like a not quite parody, but like,
Not-
neat, like that.
Not
was
quite
cool.
licensed.
Yeah, not quite licensed, not quite parody, like just somewhere in the ether there. It was really cool. This is the only one I haven't previously seen, and yeah, it was just great.
So
honestly.
like, before I get into my fun
I always
facts,
have a soft spot for 80s movies. I just talked about
Same here.
earlier how Empire Strikes Back is like one of my greatest movies of all time, mostly because I'm Star Wars and space obsessed, but
and it's
yeah.
the best sequel to ever exist.
Pretty much,
Fight
yeah.
me.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
I don't know anyone who's never thought that Star Wars Empire Strikes Back has to be one of the best sequels ever.
So, before I get into my fun facts here, at least about Monster Squad, my question to you guys, like, I wasn't alive long for the 80s. Like I said, I was born in 87, and we won't talk about the years that we were born in, but I'll let mine go. Did this movie bring you guys back to, like, a time when you were younger? Like, does Monster Squad give you that, like, nostalgic feeling of, like, days without fun? Because if Monster Squad was made today, all those monsters would have been shot. But anyway, just, like, the whole, like, bike riding thing, like, going to meet your friends. Huh?
A couple of them were shot.
Yeah, yeah. The Wolfman got exploded. But, like, just that time of, like, before phones, before social media and all that, just being able to hang out with your friends, that kind of, like, feeling.
Yeah,
Oh, definitely. That's why I said, going and seeing these movies at the movie theater. That's why I said, don't let cinema die, because that's all about what it was back in the 80s. Is that going out, hanging out with your friends, riding bikes through your neighborhood, all that fun stuff. It definitely made me bring back my memories from the 80s.
It took me back to screwing around with Magic the Gathering cards on the playground.
That's because you were there when they were invented, Justin.
Yeah, they didn't have that when I was a kid.
You had to play solitaire.
Oh, yeah. We said no birth dates, but I was 1989, and I'm technically the youngest out of the three. But yeah, I had a lot of stuff that, and yeah, that's the Stephen King shirt from earlier. Like, again, weird upbringing. I was reading the novels like super young, as well as like The Shining. I probably saw pretty young too.
So my fun facts for this movie are that Liam Neeson was almost Dracula and had the role until Duncan showed up and blew everyone away. And at that time, Liam Neeson wasn't anybody. Right. Like he wasn't known yet.
Yeah, he didn't even have the first one that everyone talks about now. That he was in.
You talking about Taken?
No.
Oh.
No, like when he was like not oldish.
No. Not Leslie Nielsen. Liam Neeson.
That's what I said. I know you said
Liam
Neeson.
My bad. By the way, there's a new Naked Gun movie coming out and talking about saving cinema. Please go see it. Trailer looks amazing. So TriStar Pictures, who made this movie, couldn't get the licensing rights, so Stan Winston, the lead FX/makeup artist, gave all the monsters slight tweaks. Frankenstein's monsters' bolts were on his forehead instead of his neck.
I noticed that.
The creature from the Black Lagoon was called Gillman.
And looks like a bad, like, Aliens 1 or 2 ripoff, more so than the Star thing.
And the Wolfman was modeled to look like Stan Winston, the makeup artist.
I don't even know what the hell I just...
So while being on set, Phoebe, the little girl, towards the end of the movie when she screams when Duncan picks her up, that is legit. She was scared of him the entire time. So when he'd be on set, he had to take the fangs out because it's the only way she'd come up to him. And I thought that was cute. I thought that was adorable. That Duncan took the time to do it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep it going from last week. Juan, do you have the kill count for this?
Yes, I do. All right. So if anybody watches this movie and wants to correct me, please feel free to do so. But as far as I counted, including the monsters that got killed, the people that I noticed that did get killed, I would say the total was 17 kills altogether. So it was a couple of the people at the beginning got killed, got sucked into the vortex, all right, and stuff like that.
Oh, shit, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So a couple of people got sucked into the vortex, so I counted them at the beginning. From what I could tell, Van Helsing did not get sucked into the vortex, but he showed up at the end of the movie. I was like, wait a minute, he didn't get sucked in, so why is he there?
Because it's Van Helsing, because right. it was time displacement.
Oh, okay, I guess so. And then how would he know what a thumbs up is?
Speaking of time displacement, now that my kids are asleep, Rudy, you're my man for just asking that girl if she was a virgin or not.
Oh yeah, right. Is she? I love the way he said it too. Is she a virgin?
Just like the way that Rudy dances about the entire question. He was like, "So have you done the?"
Right. Oh, and then one thing that before we go on, I had to mention that I thought was hilarious is when the one kid, I forgot what his name is, Horace.
Is it the chubby kid?
Yeah, the chubby kid. He goes,
man.
How do you say "don't kill me" in German? And he walks up and starts saying it in German. I thought that was hilarious, dude. That's so funny. And then they didn't run away screaming. I thought that was funny.
I got Family Guy flashbacks from the old German guy.
Right.
Yeah. But no, like, legit with that whole thing, like, they didn't even need to do that.
They really did it.
The scary German guy.
But it's the 80s. They needed something else.
Yeah, no, I know. And then, I don't think that's where everyone's, like, Auschwitz concentration camp brand thing was. But for them to just randomly throw that in the movie,
I don't think.
I was scary once, or whatever it was.
I don't think it was random, and only because in the 80s, Americans were beating up Nazis a lot. Look at Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Well, yeah, skinhead came to prominence in the 80s because of that shit.
Yeah, and then the whole middle movie, there was no kills. I thought I could have sworn when I was rewatching it, is that I could have sworn someone in the airplane died, but no one died. Okay, so he just drops the coffin and then he flies away. For some reason, I must have been getting that one mixed up with Dracula 2000 because I was like, did people die in the airplane? But that was Dracula 2000. And then the other people, not all the cops were killed. Some of them.
That one got exploded.
Right, some of them were just knocked out. Like the one cop that got his arm bent and he just fell out. I was like, he didn't die. I mean, that didn't
wait, Wolfman killed the ambulance driver, didn't he?
Yes, I counted that. That was one of the 17. I did count him. I wasn't sure, but I was like, you know what? They didn't say anything about that, so he's dead. So I counted him as a death. Then, like I said, I didn't count how many times they blew up the Wolfman. I just counted his final death. So I didn't count every time they blew him up or tried to kill him.
Wolfman exploded, and again, I had forgotten about that scene. And my kids were like, Wolfman died. I said, give it a second.
Right.
Also, I'm sorry. That scene where Wolfman is fighting Sean's dad, the most surprising thing about that scene to me was the Sport Mart boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Because, where they crashed into was some kind of, like, generic sporting goods store.
Very generic sporting store.
Right. But, so altogether, I'd say 17 kills because I was trying to see how many people actually died or just fell out. And from what I could tell, it's like when the creature from the
Gilman.
Yeah, Gilman or whatever you want to call him, squished that guy's head. I was like, he definitely died.
That was so cool.
Right, I was like, he definitely died. And then, like I said, some of the 17 or some of the monsters did die.
My son was like, Daddy, I want to see Creature from Black Lagoon. I said, buddy, this movie takes place not near water. He's kind of useless. And then he shows up at the end.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's the kill count, 17, sorry. 17.
The next up is Antlers, which came out October 29th, 2021, not 2001, like I said previously. Sorry. This stars Kerry Russell as Julia Meadows and Jeremy T. Thomas as Lucas Weaver. There are other people in this movie. I did not forget. I just left them out because of my notes.
Yeah.
Justin, this was your pick. This is the one you offered up to us. The only thing I will say before you go is, fuck you. This movie fucked me up.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I just know it was like a very neat, like, Wendigo-driven movie, lore monster-wise, where Guillermo del Toro was like the lead producer, and holy shit, you feel it the entire time.
Yeah, the practical effects for the Wendigo were insane. I found out that it was puppeted, mostly, which doesn't surprise me because it's fucking Toro. Anything else?
I mean, yeah, it's just, it hit me, I forget when the hell I first saw it. We might have went to the show, me and my wife, Allie. I don't even remember. But I just remember it hitting me like a brick, and, like, not necessarily as a horror movie, but just, like, the things that occur, like, message-wise in this movie are just, like, superb, but also messed up.
Yeah, and that's what fucked me up. So, Juan, you said this. Oh, I'm so sorry. Were you finished?
No, yeah, go ahead.
All right. Juan, you said this was your first time seeing Antlers. How'd you deal with it?
Actually, I thought it was a very good. I got a lot of notes for this movie because I thought it was very interesting. You already said the date of the movie. I wrote that down. All that kind of fun stuff. I did like. I'm not gonna try to say his name because I don't want to mess it up. But I do like the Native American actor in this movie. I've seen him in a bunch of other movies.
He's in so many.
Yeah, he is. So
he's awesome.
my little thing about him is that I'm pretty sure he wanted to tell Julia and Paul, you white people need to find a new hobby. Leave this alone, but he couldn't.
Right, exactly. So I just want to mention that. Like I said,
I'm in my Wendigo era. No, you're not.
Right, so I'm sad. I'm really bad at saying people's names most of the time.
Oh,
so I'm not going to try to say it and ruin it. But here, if you want to look at it, I wrote it down.
Oh, if you think you're bad at pronouncing names, wait till we get to Godzilla -1.
Oh, I know, right? Let's see it. Right there.
Graham Greene?
Yeah.
Yeah, Graham Greene.
Yeah, Graham Greene. There you
He's
go.
like the awesome Native American rep dude in like so many awesome movies.
Right.
Not just this one.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, I really like him in every movie I've ever seen him in. I really like him. He's a good actor. I think he was even, sorry, I know I've seen it. I think, isn't he one of the actors that's also in Twilight?
He may have been. He may have been on the res. I'm currently doing his
Yeah, I think he
IMDb. He was in Dances with Wolves.
Oh, yes, definitely
That's
in that one.
what I was
know
going
him
to
from
say.
that
That's
one, yeah.
the big ass one.
I don't know why. I was going to be like,
I got
oh,
a
he was
funny
also in
anecdote about
Antlers,
Dances
but
with Wolves. I got a funny anecdote about that movie. For the longest time, I'll tell you real quick, for the longest time in that movie, I always thought that one guy that was on the wagon always said, white don't make right.
you're not wrong.
But that ain't what he says. He says, why don't he write? But his accent was with
Oh, the
that
thicker
chow
accent,
and
yeah.
chewing tobacco and stuff in his mouth was so
Yeah.
messed up. I was
Yeah,
like,
the chew.
why would he say white don't make right? I was like, that makes no sense. And then I finally realized he was saying, like I said, why don't he write?
Yeah.
Because he was dead in the plains. But anyways, back to the movie. That
He
we're
was also
actually
in
watching.
Snow Dogs with Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, yeah, I seen that one. That was a good one.
Nice.
Yeah,
and
let's see.
Maverick
Oh, okay.
and The Green Mile.
Right.
And I'm done.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies.
I could have kept going.
Right. So, one of the notes I made is that actually, from what I know, everything they said in this movie about a Wendigo is actually correct. Not a window. Wendigo is correct.
The window to your soul.
Right. So, the legends of a Wendigo,
Get
everything he
last week
said.
out of your brain, Juan.
Right.
It's not Rear Window anymore. Window. Wendigo.
Yeah, Wendigo.
The legend of the
Which is
Chibi.
probably like that's what's cool about this movie. Well, the cool about the Wendigo, at least, and why I wanted to include it in Monster Week, is because it's probably like the biggest legend in the whole country. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
like I mean, aside from like Bigfoot, but like who really wants to sit there and talk about Bigfoot unless you're like odd? I mean, we could talk about Bigfoot if you want, but I just mean like as far as like lore things from Native America that are like very lore and like interest driven. Like
Again.
you know, Bigfoot's kind of been beaten to death, if I'm being honest.
I
Even though I still like it, but
I understand this is a podcast and none of you could see it, but as Justin was talking about people who like Bigfoot are weird, I raised my hand, and because I raised my hand, he immediately backtracked and said it wasn't that odd.
Yeah, so like I said, everything that's about a Wendigo is correct from what I know of Wendigos and legends that I've heard about them. So this movie was pretty accurate as far as what a Wendigo is and how it acts and its nature and everything. It's pretty on spot.
If you guys want another sampling of Wendigo lore, I highly suggest the game Until Dawn. There's a movie coming out based on the game, but I would highly recommend playing the game.
And then I just made some notes of other cryptids. I don't know if they made movies about them, but well-known cryptids are like you said, the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, however you want to call them.
Is the Mothman on there?
Yes, Mothman is on here. And I made a note of the Mothman. There's Nessie.
wait, I just been like branching across like North America proper though, because like Mothman's usually just East Coast America.
Right.
Like,
Well, I made notes of that too, of which ones are from which region, but
Yeah.
I won't say all of it already. But basically, there's actually some local legends too, as far as cryptids go. There's something called the Farmer City Monster. That's local.
Like local to Indiana?
Yeah, like Indiana, Chicago area.
Oh, by the way, I should have announced this in the first episode. We're in like the Northwest Indiana and 45 minutes from Chicago.
Right.
yeah, and I drive my happy ass all the way from near north side of Chicago, so yeah.
There's
We're
also
Chicago area like a
there's
mofo.
also a local monster called the Turtle Bottom Monster. I think it is. Bottom Monster.
The
Which
bottom
I've
Guys-
never
or
heard
bottom?
of that one. Huh?
Bottle or bottom?
Bottom.
Bottom monster. I think
Yeah,
of
Bottom's Monster or something like that.
Hey guys, I think we should form the Monster Squad and try and go find these.
right. Just find cryptids.
And then
What,
there's
babe? You
the
don't want me
Chestnut
going to look for the Mothman?
Although I don't know, can we consider the Wendigo a cryptid? I mean, it's like
yeah, actually,
almost all
Wendigo's on
completely.
here. Wendigo is
It,
cryptid.
yeah,
It's almost all completely Native American lore that I've ever known.
Native American cryptid.
Chupacabra.
Yeah. Chupacabra. That's
Is that the goat that eats snakes, or am I
No,
thinking of
it's
something?
half alien, half
no. It's
creature that sucks on goats.
it's a
That's
yeah,
why
but it's like a.
Chupacabra.
I
That's
thought
what
the
it means.
Chupacabra was like a
sucker.
jackrabbit slash.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
like
Chupacabra
demon
means goat
thing.
sucker.
It's a weird chupa thingy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's a warthog.
Which is also a Mexican song.
It goes
called
like a
Chupacabra.
puma.
Yes, you got it.
There's a
Red
Latin
versus
song.
blue is amazing.
There's a Latin song called Chupacabra. It's pretty funny. If you understand Spanish, it's a funny song. It's
Can
about
you
a
or
guy-
can
it's
you
a-
or your wife translate it for me so I can know what's going on?
Basically, the translation of the song is the wife is telling her husband the marks on her neck is from the chupacabra, and even though she's basically cheating on him. It's pretty funny.
That's nuts.
hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that's what the song is about.
Nice.
All right, so
I mean, not awesome,
let's
but-
see. What are
yeah.
some of my other notes? Let's see. Oh, I put that this movie definitely does not disappoint. All right.
It really doesn't.
Yeah, and at one point I was kind of curious of where the storyline was going because I was like, what the heck does school have to do with, the creature and all this stuff? And then it kind of brings it back in, and it kind of goes around, and then it comes back around and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting the fact that, like I said, how it. I guess it carries on, I guess you could say, or how it creates itself or reinvents itself.
It does. The ending to this, and again, like Juan said from Monster Squad, if you haven't seen this, pause this and go watch it.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil too much.
The ending tripped me out.
Yeah.
And like it took a second for me to realize what was going on. When it happened, because I was like, why would he be? Never mind. I understand it.
But I do got to say, from being a person that doesn't have kids, that actually kind of, the movie, like I said, don't want to spoil too much, but it did kind of bother me.
Oh.
The ending, and I was like, wow, that's something you don't always see. I mean, they didn't actually show it on camera, which I'm glad, but I was like, oh man, that's
All
good
right.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
So, like I said in the beginning of this, this movie fucked me up thoroughly.
Yeah, exactly.
I went through an emotional roller coaster with this. Maybe because I'm a dad of 3 myself, or because halfway through I realized that Paul Meadows, the cop, the brother, is played by Jesse Plemons, who by night is Captain Robert Daly aboard the USS Callister, which is one of my favorite episodes of Black Mirror. But
Well, he also plays that like half a douche in every role he has.
oh, he does. But like it, and again, like I was watching it, and we were just talking about it with Kerry Russell. I was like, why do I know you? And then the one like obscene episode of Married with Children, that's what I know her from. So Lucas kind of looks like an older version of our son.
Yeah,
And it-
sorry, bro.
No,
I didn't think
that-
about it. I
you
just know
had-
it's one of the best
No.
like non-campy horror movies I can remember.
No, you're absolutely fine. But it, like I said, this movie fucked me up. And I do have to agree with Juan on this. The first half of this movie, they're obviously explaining everything, all the exposition. They're doing a little bit of the backstory, and then like laying the groundwork. And then I honestly felt like once that groundwork was laid, and the principal goes into the house, from that point on, it was just foot to floor, and this movie just sped all the way through towards the end.
Oh, I agree.
And like we were talking about before we started, Guillermo del Toro is an amazing producer when it comes to these monsters. I really think we can eventually need to do an episode just on him, and Pan's Labyrinth needs to be on that list.
Guillermo del Toro week, yeah.
But there was one part of this movie that I physically had to get up and walk around because I was creeped out. And it's when it's at the end when the Wendigo takes the face of the dad and he peels it off and he drops it. The sound that made.
Oh, the little squelch or whatever.
I got up and had to like walk around for a second. I was like, oh my God. But on a more serious note, when it comes to this movie, if you're dealing with abuse, anything like that,
absolutely,
please reach out to the best of your ability. Nobody needs to go through that. But yeah, being a dad, like, had I seen this movie when it came out, would have been right before I met my wife. Actually, no, this movie came out while we were together. Just didn't see it. But anyway, had I not seen this movie as like being a parent or like, you know, being married or anything like that, I think I just would have wrote it off. It's like, oh, I feel so bad for that kid. But being a parent watching this movie, I was like, I want to beat whoever did this up to him. Like I'd fight the Wendigo. I'd lose, but it's fine. I'd at least try. Right. And that is my biggest issue with this movie. Spoiler warning ahead. It's just crazy that she knew how to fight that thing.
She was listening to the awesome native advisor actor that we all
love.
That's
That's cool. And I get that the Wendigo was the metaphor for her dad, like the shit she couldn't do to him for what he did to her. And I get that. But it's just nuts that she just came out Darth Maul swinging with that pole and just beat this thing up. It was crazy to me.
Well, even really good horror movies that aren't campy still have like weird plausible deniability shit in it. I mean,
again, suspending disbelief. She did an awesome job.
Right.
But I was just like, oh, she's going to die. Oh.
Yeah.
So this was the movie that had the muzzle flash at the end when she was shooting, and you got to see the Wendigo in like quick sections,
like stop motion.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. It had to be Guillermo again.
Oh, 100%. And I can't
because that was just cool.
And throughout all my notes, I can't remember the guy who directed this, but when I was reading
Scott Powers or some shit like that.
I think something like that. I'll go back and check. He had a lot of ideas for this movie because this movie, like the ones we did last week, is based on a book. Yeah. It's called The Quiet Boy. And I kind of want to read it now.
It's going to be a theme with me. I love books. I have a slight problem with Dune at all times, but we'll get to that one day.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Okay, so...
the 8-hour movie week.
Yeah.
So you ready for the kill count?
Yeah.
So total kill count of this movie was only 7 kills.
And do you know who deserved it the most?
The Wendigos?
No. The principal for walking into that house. That was her own damn fault.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. That was...
Well, first of all, you're the principal of a school. You should never attempt to be that damn hands-on as a principal.
And it was
she cared about her students. I mean,
she did. She did. She didn't have to walk upstairs.
Yeah, that's true.
She could have easily called the cops.
Right, and then when she heard that noise from the room, she didn't have to walk into that room.
I would have left, and that was the worst use of using your phone as a flashlight I've ever seen.
Exactly. I would have ran, and I would have been calling somebody.
She used the front of the phone. I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
So that scene in Scary Movie where Marlon Wayans is like, run, bitch, run. That was me watching her do that.
Yeah.
I was like, don't go in the house. You're in the house. Don't go upstairs. You're upstairs.
That poor little... back from the first movie. At least she wasn't chicken shit.
Hey, and a call back from the first episode. This is what happens when you leave your doors unlocked.
There you go. Right. That's right. When you leave your doors unlocked. Good callback.
I also felt like that door was going to be unlocked anyway. That whole house was decrepit. Sorry. I don't mean to keep cutting you off. I do apologize. The editing won't show that. But I'm also very proud of Lucas for like doing what he had to do to his dad and like protect Aiden and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But the amount of like his snap to just cover the lady's car with a tarp, that's the last thing I would have thought of.
Yeah, a kid like that and be like cover the car and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, maybe his daddy taught him some stuff.
So no, well that was the idea when he's got the traps and trapping animals in his desk and shit.
Exactly.
Like his dad had influenced a bunch of his young life, sadly.
So like I said,
however you want to say it.
So like I said, this was my first time watching this movie. So when he was walking and he killed the squirrel or the skunk, I was like, "Oh, you little serial killer!" And he got home and I realized what was going on. I was like, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah. It's all reactionary, bro.
Well, I mean, he was being bullied too. So I mean, before
that
you
kid,
knew what was going on,
that kid got what he deserved. By the way.
Oh yeah.
You're not gonna play hump my sock monkey,
Make him eat shit, actually.
That was, oh my God.
Yeah.
When Lucas put that dog shit in that boy's bag. And also, how bad did that not have to smell if he didn't realize it till he opened his bag?
Actually, you know what? Good point. Because I thought this was part of the movie. And then, because I could have sworn that the chief told them, chief as in chief of police, because that's what he was. No, I'm not
Jesse
trying to say
Plemons'
anything
character.
Right, yeah.
against Native American people. He was the chief of the police.
Before,
But-
in the beginning, I see
Right,
what you're
exactly.
saying.
So,
now, yeah.
anyways, when the chief told them, I could have sworn he said that the Wendigo only attacked people that had evil in their heart.
Well, that's the whole lore
Right.
behind the Wendigo.
Exactly.
Is
Like
if
greed.
you're overly, like, insanely desirous of things, it comes for you.
Right.
That's why it used to attack miners and stuff in the 1800s. And, like, for reference, also, this entire movie is set in, like, Oregon, defunct mining country that is now slowly turning into Meth Lab City.
Right, but my point.
This movie couldn't have been made anywhere else.
But the point I was going to make is, if you think about it, he attacked to attack the teacher's brother. So does that mean he actually had some evil in his heart, even though he was a good guy and he seemed like he was a good guy, because he got attacked?
Well, I mean, you could literally frame that as he was
Like I
overly
said, don't spoil.
desirous
I'm not
of
trying to.
screwing
I
spoil,
mean-
but
I
what
mean,
happens
like-
to him at the end of the movie? I mean,
I think the reason, I'm just going to spoil it. Paul, Julia's brother, was that her name? Yeah. Julia's brother Paul at the end becomes infected.
right.
And I think the reason he became infected is because he still harbored that hate towards
happened
his
to them.
sister for leaving.
Right.
And
And,
leaving
what
him
happened to
with
them as kids?
Meth Dad.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure he was also abused.
Yeah, like
Right.
I'm sure that trickled
Yeah,
down.
leaving him with bad Meth Dad by himself.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, I think that's why he turned
Right.
or started to turn.
Right.
Because when
Well, that and he got stabbed by the horn and stuff like that, so he got infected with the Wendigo.
that too, yeah. But I think that hateful desire, because me and Justin were talking about this before we got here. The scene where she's like, he didn't break your arm, to do what he wanted to do. You didn't have to, you weren't hiding under the stairs hoping he wouldn't find you. And he was like, no, I wasn't. But he did stuff to me too. And like, almost like the calmness about it, like
Right.
like him suffering through the trauma. It's like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
And then that's when it hit me that he was a dude from Black Mirror, and I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Anything
that's
else?
like the signature he puts
That's
on
all I
all
got.
his characters, Jesse Plemons, is that they can be like a good guy, but he's still like a wacko
He's a
douche
dick.
Right.
Is Godzilla -1, which came out December 1st, 2023. And for anybody who listens to this that wants to at me, that was one of the release dates. This movie
Yeah.
had like 3 release dates from when it came out in Japan, or when it came out in the States, or later on in February when it only had the limited run, or end of January limited run of the black and white version,
Yeah.
which is the version that I watched.
That's not even getting to like the Netflix release and all this other nonsense.
Yeah. So
Toho's awesome, but yeah, they
I
definitely
am.
didn't figure that out.
They really didn't. Just put it out. So I am going to preface this by saying that I'm going to apologize for messing any of these names up, but we'll see what happens. So this movie stars. I'm already going to screw this up. Minami Hamabe as Noriko Oshi. Ryanosuke Kamaki as Kochi Shikishima. Sakura Ando as Sumiko Oda, and Munetaka Aoki as as Susaku Tachibana. And again, I apologize, but Juan.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I have some notes on this movie. My notes are.
Well, what did you think of it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I really liked it. First time seeing it. Never seen it before. Seen other Godzilla movies, but never this one. I thought it was interesting. It was World War II. Let's see. That the main character was a kamikaze pilot. I thought that was interesting. And one of my notes that I put here to jump a little bit forward in the movie is that I was like, "What the hell, lady? Why are you pissed off at him because he didn't commit suicide?" I was
So-
like,
That was Japanese culture.
That was very much Japanese culture.
Well, I know that, but-
He was given the job. He was given a job. You had one job and you failed. And that scene alone, like she makes up for it at the end, but it crushes
yes, she
me
does.
because he's like, hey, do you know where my parents are? And she was like, oh, they're dead. Like, you should have been. Like, you chickened out on the thing that you should have done for your country.
Right.
By the way, I am not military. I don't think I could have done it either. But just that, like, hardcoreness about it. I'm just like, people in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong, but just the dying for your country, dying for honor, like dying with honor.
Yeah.
But yeah, that.
Well, and it's still very much, even though this is a Godzilla movie based on the Empire of Japan,
It's a
the
huge
war was
metaphor.
over. So the war was over, during this fictional alternate of World War II, but it was still very much Empire of Japan, just not so much trying to rebuild the country.
Oh,
So,
I
and,
mean, with that being said, I do understand that. I know that was the culture and everything, and it was die with honor and all that stuff. But still, I was just like, man, I thought it was kind of harsh, her reaction when he first came home. She's like, but then she was like, what the hell are you doing here? Like,
I meant to say this at the top before you go on, Juan. For those of you who don't know the history of this chunky boy, because he's a chunk in this movie, here's your quick rundown. Godzilla's first debut was in 1954 in Gojira, not the French metal band. This came first. He's a metaphor for the panic of nuclear weapons in post-World War II Japan, more so the Bikini Atoll nuclear test and the Lucky Dragon, which was a Japanese fishing boat that was contaminated by fallout. So there's your little quick rundown of Godzilla.
oh, okay. All right, so that was my first note, her reaction. I was like, WTF. But like I said, I do understand, that he should have did his duty, but I was shocked at her reaction of him coming home. And then I noticed that everybody else's reaction when he said that he was a suicide bomber, they kind of just went quiet. No one responded.
Oh, especially
like she did.
Especially when they were on the boat.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, "Yeah, I was a kamikaze pilot."
Yeah, exactly. Everybody was like, "Okay."
The scientist dude was like, "I'm happy you're alive."
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of the science guy, I actually made a note of him. I was like, man, this guy, what is with back then, and scientists all with the crazy ass hair. I was like, every a movie with a scientist in it has
They
crazy
even
ass
did it in
hair.
Oppenheimer, yo.
But then he made me think of Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, scientists back then, if you were kooky, you only had one person to base your entire look off of.
Yeah.
The guy who couldn't tie his own shoes, Albert Einstein.
Right. Exactly.
Like,
exactly. So
and plus,
like,
if you have hair like that and you're not smart, what are you doing with your life?
Exactly. Basically, and learn to buy a comb. Which I won't get into my problems with fashion, especially nowadays. We'll leave that alone. But yes, I do believe in combing your hair and pulling your pants up. Sorry, it has to be said. But I'll just leave it at that. Like I said, I come from the generation where you wear your clothes, not PJs outside the house. Sorry, not defend anybody.
You spend a lot of time at Walmart at 3 a.m., don't you?
Sometimes. We're night owls.
As a generation, we had 24-hour Walmarts and $1 McChickens. What happened? Anyway.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
right.
pastimes is hanging out at Myers and, like in the wee hours of the morning because that's one of the few stores that are still open. Thank you, COVID. I
So,
love shopping late, and now I can't.
so fun fact, going off what you had done, as a production note for this movie, they had everything set. COVID happened. The director had 3 years to write the script. That's why this shit is so clean and compact.
Oh, really?
Like, if I had 3 years to work on a script, yeah. Where my main character is a giant pissed off lizard. Oh, the shit. I'm not going to say the shit writes itself because I can't write anything like that. I've tried. But yeah, he had 3 years to work on the script.
Yeah.
So another thing that
it shows-
COVID, a biological, pandemic that endured, gave us a really good Godzilla movie. We don't need another 2020. But hey, it gave us a really good Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
So another scene that I really liked, and another
It helped
WTF
cleanse us
moment
of
for me
2000 as well.
is when they blew up the mine in his mouth.
You leave Matthew Broderick alone, and that shit was sick.
Yeah, exactly. And then it regenerated. I was like, what, WTF? I was
So I watched this in black and white. So the regeneration scenes just look like the film got put back together. like somebody hit a reverse button. But I'll go into my love for this movie in the black and white later.
Okay, so I already mentioned the hair thing. Let's see. But overall, I gotta say I really like this movie. And, I had no problems with it. The story flowed really good as far as I was concerned. There was no dead moments, as you could say, or like
there were
what
dead
the heck
moments
is going on, or whatever. My
monotony moments, you mean? Yeah.
Right. My only what the heck is going on is at the end before we started recording. You mentioned it to your wife, but the scene with the thing on the neck and the end, I was like, "What the hell?" And then you explained it to us.
Yes.
So hopefully you explain it right now, so the fans know.
Okay, so if you've been a Godzilla fan for a while, or just want to look up something completely kooky about Godzilla, Noriko wasn't it? Yeah. So Noriko, who did not die, she has like a black mark on the side of her neck, and she got infected by Godzilla. I don't know how she would have gotten infected by Godzilla in this movie, because if she survived, why didn't everybody else when they got hit by the blowback from the heat wave?
A mini mushroom cloud. So, that would probably be how.
But, so it's referred to in the movies. I don't know if it's referred to anywhere else like this, but they're called G cells, and she's infected with Godzilla. So what I think, because we are getting a second one eventually, I don't know if it was the first Godzilla movie or the second one. I think it was the second one. Which, the first sequel to Godzilla is what introduced the idea of him fighting monsters. So let's put that into perspective. 1954, he fucks up Tokyo/Japan. 1955, he's battling monsters coming to destroy the planet that he already tried to fuck up. So, good guy Godzilla. He's the king of monsters for a reason. Fight me. Anyway. So I think she will be, she'll have the ability to, not speak for him, not be an interpreter, but she'll be able to feel what's going on. Which means if the second Godzilla movie, which should be called, -2. Yeah, that one burns up. Kind of heavy. Sorry, I touched my wife's battery charger for her laptop. Back to G cells. So I think she'll be able to feel and what's going on, and in a way, I don't think she's gonna open her mouth and oh, Godzilla said this, because it'd be funny in the second one. Oh, which they should call -2. They won't. It should just be 0 and then go to just number wise go up after that. But I think that she'll be able to
-0.4 repeating.
She'll be able to tell everybody he's gonna save us. Sorry that your city got destroyed again, but he saved all of the world. From please be King Ghidorah. With the way that the graphics were done in this movie, I hope we get Mechagodzilla or King Ghidorah or the Mothra, or just all of them. Just have a Royal Rumble. Anyway.
Actually, I gotta say that the Godzilla in this movie was pretty good. I've seen other movies where the Godzilla is
Do you know why he was good in this movie?
What?
Because he was fat.
Yeah, I like the way he looked. Like I said, there's other
chunky,
Godzilla
stubby Godzilla is best Godzilla. And unlike Justin, who hated the 2000 one, I didn't mind the Raptor version.
Right.
I don't mind that version. I just didn't like the whole shitload of the rest of the movie.
It's fine. Nobody liked Godzilla 2000.
Right.
I like Raptor Godzilla. It's a look, but the rest of it was meh.
I need my Godzilla chunky. Anyway, go on, Justin.
So who's next? You or Justin?
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah.
This is good. So, I can't exactly remember when I first saw Godzilla, but Noriko with G cells, he's always been a part of my life somehow. I'm dead serious. Whether I remember seeing the cartoon, but I think that was about his son, which raises more questions. So I'll have to go down a rabbit hole about that too.
What, Son of Godzilla?
I think so. I think it was a cartoon. Yeah. I don't know if it was done by Hanna-Barbera or not, but I'll have to look. It'd be crazy if it was. Him and not the Pink Panther, Snagglepuss. That would have been dope. Anyway, so like I said, I don't remember if it was because of the cartoon or because I had seen a bit of the like black and white movies.
Original, yeah.
But now that I'm talking with you guys about it, I may have been introduced to Godzilla when he fought Ultraman and did that horrible drop kick when it was still person in suit Godzilla. I definitely knew him before the time that Taco Bell ran the "I think I need a bigger box" commercials, which, going back to Justin and his hate of Godzilla 2000, that was around that era. Also, whatever happened to that Taco Bell dog? Did Godzilla eat him? Because I don't. Anyway.
No,
They don't
I
Taco
just
Bell?
stopped using them.
But yeah, like I said, he's always been a part of my life somehow. He's like the big brother I never had. No, I'm not that sad. I missed this one in theaters, but I immediately bought it when it came out. I have the Blu-ray. I have the Blu-ray version. I would like the 4K Ultra. And eventually, when they do this in 8K Ultra, and like I want to watch this in VR, just not die. But it's rare for me to watch a movie that was remade, like the same movie, like they didn't do anything else to it, and fall in love with it. But the black and white version of this movie is so fucking slick. So my little note about this is that the director said this in a statement, kind of a nod to this. You'll understand this in a second. The director said in a statement, rather than just making it monochrome, it is a cut by cut. I had them make adjustments while using full use of various mats as if they were creating a new movie. This version was also the last credit for producer Sujay Abe, who died on December 11th, 2023. They could have easily just taken this movie, done a black and white filter, and put it out. But they went scene by scene, frame by frame, to make sure all the lighting was good, right? And it was and I know why they did it, to make it look like the original black and white Godzilla movies. But goddamn, I'm so happy that they did.
Yeah.
I'll just get these out of the way. Godzilla's
Abe is a legend, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, he's done so many amazing things.
Godzilla's roar was directly lifted from the 1954 version, which I love his roar too. Again, chunky Godzilla is best Godzilla. It's like anytime I see him, like in
Cough and click drinking game. The amount of times Jeff says chunky Godzilla.
you will lose the liver. I will constantly repeat it for the rest of this. But like in Godzilla vs. King Kong and like the new Empire, and then we're getting a new one called Supernova. That Godzilla just seems pissed off. Like he's been around forever, and now
it's
like
gangsta Godzilla.
It's why.
It's like gangsta Godzilla.
Yeah, to a point. It's like bad cop Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like he's just pissed off at the world, and now there's this like King Kong that he has to deal with on top of dealing.
Godzilla that's tired of everyone's shit. It's good.
It's Clint Eastwood Godzilla in Gran Torino.
Yeah.
You get out of my ocean. But this is more so for Justin. The Kyosho J7W Shinden, the plane at the end of this film, is a real prototype fighter plane.
Yeah, the Shinden is legendary in aviation circles. Yeah, go figure. I'm a space guy, and I'm going nuts about aviation stuff too.
It did see limited production towards the end of World War II. Because when I saw that plane, I was like, that shouldn't work. And then I realized what the propeller was, and I was like, this works. Yeah.
They also made a jet version too, because all of them were doing it, all the bad guys in the end of World War II.
Actually, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned it, because I was like, man, it would be so cool if those wings came in. That way, when he flew into the Godzilla's mouth, it would go further down in before they tried to.
Oh, like actually, like just chuck, like so, like it folding in on itself, and then
like,
the propeller would have.
when he goes for the final.
Screwed his throat up.
Because the wings
the Corsair,
were like
where
this,
it folds the wings.
They were like that, and if they just went like that.
Like the American Corsair, where the wings can fold. Yeah.
So you wanted the plane wings to Naruto run?
Do what now?
I said you wanted the plane wings to Naruto run.
Naruto.
Yes, like that. Yeah, like that. Sorry, I didn't get the reference. I'm still new to anime.
No, you're
well,
fine.
that's like that brings up a new thing now. Like, can you get down Godzilla's throat before he fries you with nuclearness?
I mean, not to make this dirty, but you know,
Japanese sure shit tried.
Yeah.
They could have deep throat Godzilla if those wings folded in.
There's not much I can like say without like repeating myself about like how much I love Godzilla. But if you if you take the time to go watch -1, I highly recommend going back. I think a lot of them are on HBO. Hi, HBO. Uh, but I think a lot of them are on HBO Max or whatever it's called now. Definitely go back and watch the black and white ones, and go to Netflix and check out Shin Godzilla. I think it released in 2016. I don't think if we didn't get Shin Godzilla, we would have never gotten Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
There's also a Shin Ultraman. I don't know if we'll ever do an Ultraman episode. It's not really horror, but maybe I'll just sit for 45 minutes and talk about Ultraman.
Was there an Ultraman versus Ash Williams? Because then we might.
I think Ultraman only fought people that he could find. I know he fights Godzilla.
Well, then we need another Monster Week, I guess.
We do all the Monster Weeks. If every Monster Week we do, episode we do, involves 2 horror movies and a Godzilla movie, we'll be golden for years. But I highly recommend you go back and watch any Godzilla movie. Pick up a Godzilla comic, a game, comic book, whatever. He's been in. This man. Also, this is also the longest running series of films. There are 37 Godzilla films. All but 7, I think, or 4, I think somewhere around there, were done by Toho. I don't think Shin Godzilla was. Any hoozles. Just go out and love Chunky Godzilla. Another one. Just love Godzilla the way that Godzilla wants to be loved. Because, legitimately, I don't know what his problem was in this movie. He didn't have to destroy Ginza or any of that. I thought he lost his wallet. I made the joke during the movie. I was like, guys, I lost my wallet. Is this where it is? Oh, I'm pissed. Why are you shooting at me?
Yeah.
Godzilla's a good boy. I've talked for too long. Justin, please talk.
All right. Yeah. And me, I love Godzilla for a long time, too. This one gave me a different bend from my usual Godzilla love, though. I've constantly referenced the crappy situations that you wouldn't want to be in horror-wise. This is one.
Boy, is this at the top of that list?
Yeah, because
I'm so sorry, Justin. I made the joke to Beth that, could you imagine somebody like Godzilla shows up and just, before he shows up, somebody's having a really bad day. They get fired. They find out they're getting divorced. It's like, oh, what's next? A giant lizard's going to crush my home? Oh, shit.
Right? Oh, honey, I just got done waxing the car. Poof. Ah!
I was 2 days away from retirement.
I only had 3 payments left of that damn car. No.
Not to cut Justin off again, but could you just imagine just having the shittiest day in the world? How can this get worse?
Oh wow, there's a mushroom cloud over there. I guess Godzilla's over there.
That's weird. That wasn't in the forecast today. But go on, Justin. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it had a different bend for me, because this movie contains things that I've actually said before, because it was one of my own situations that I actually existed in. It wasn't one that I wouldn't want to be in. It's one I had. I think I spoke about it last week for half a second. But I was air cavalryman in the U.S. Army for 5 years. Iraq and Afghanistan, 1 each. And I'm not going to wax poetic. If you're anybody else like me out there, talk to the DAV. I think there's actually a special, not suicide hotline, but something of that nature specifically for veteran stuff. Definitely do that if you need it, even if you know somebody, obviously. But yeah, I forget where I was going with this now. I'm sorry.
And thank you for your service, by the way.
Yes, thank you for your service.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being one of my closest friends.
Of course.
Now talk about Godzilla and PTSD.
So this movie deals with the movie, in the main pilot, basically he was supposed to kamikaze, so he has a severe case of PTS things, 46, 45, 47, obviously it was not even called any of that. They were writing it off as something called shell shock that doesn't exist anymore.
That man's whole life was just regret. Like, he,
Oh, yeah.
obviously, the kamikaze point, everything that happens with Noriko, she's like, oh, that's not my wife, that's not my kid. She dies, quotes, and he's like, oh, I should have said something to her. Like, this man's whole life was regret. And obviously, it's a movie. He has plot armor. He has a very happy ending. That's not a stereotype that I was going after. But it's kind of that notion of, or not the notion, but the metaphor or the lesson of don't live with regret. Like, if you want to tell somebody that you love them, you love them. Like, just say it. Like, you don't know when you're going to get another chance. I've lost people that I wish I could talk to again.
Yeah, just the base concept that life is short, and you got to make the most of what you can, even if it feels like something completely jacked up that you don't want to do. You still got to try. But anyway, no. So I deployed one each, Iraq, Afghanistan. Lost basically a brother of mine, Richard A. Essex. Miss him every day. We'd vibe over Hendrix and like Jimi Hendrix and like EDM and like weird shit basically all the time. Miss the man every day. He died in a crash August 12th, 2012 while I was being on my way back to the States. So it jacked me up real good. Things I've seen, blah, blah, blah. I'm like to think I'm a good bit on the other side of this because I went to Rode Home at Rush, God bless those people, for a good long while, and I feel like I'm on a decent amount of the other side of it. But yeah, it's a thing, and the only reason I'm even bringing this up is because in the movie, one of the main things that always hits me, and I basically just start slightly tearing every single time, is the concept that we mentioned lightly earlier. The war is over. You know, I can't believe I'm blanking on the character's name. I love.
Oh, so like, oh yeah, when he sees Noriko at the end, and she was like, "Koichi, is your war over?" And he just, he shakes his head, yes. And then we see the G cells, and then we see Godzilla regenerating in the bottom of the ocean. That war is not over.
Yeah,
it's just beginning.
Regardless of the Godzilla lore, like I had that in a way in my own life. I was not frontline combat or anything, but I did have things that I had to do. Downed aircraft recovery missions, out in the things. And I kind of felt like I always parallel that, and it always, like I said, tears me up a little every single time. Because in my own experience with Iraq and Afghanistan and being an air cavalryman in the U.S. Army, like, I completely understand where that's coming from, and it just hits me like a brick every single time. Because for a long time, I came home, and I did not feel like my war was over. I was not gelling with Civiland whatsoever. I hated it. I was doing all kinds of dumb things over and over again. And it was a long road, but I can tell any of you listening right now that it was a very much worthwhile road. It was hard, but most amazingly great things are very hard, and it was worthwhile.
I love you, Justin.
Love you guys too, obviously.
Yeah, love you, man.
There's a reason I did it, and this is part of it. Having awesome people to come back to, obviously. But yeah, so it's just, and why this is remarkable is because thanks to Army / upbringing and seeing Shining and Full Metal Jacket super young, I don't really have a reaction to many movies or anything. But this is one of them. When he finally gets that big build of, yes, he's shaking his head emphatically, yes, my war is over. It hits me every time and I tear up a little. And it's just because of that, like, general thing. In general, even though he's a freaking kamikaze pilot for the freaking Japanese Empire, like, it doesn't matter. The Japanese Empire doesn't exist anymore. Japan, current day, is a really cool country regardless. But, yeah, and aside from that, I've just been obsessed with Godzilla because Japanese culture is one of the more interesting things on the planet to me anyway.
Thank you, Japan, for
and all this other bullshit that I've been talking about for 2 weeks now.
I'd like to thank Japan for their food and their cartoons and Godzilla.
Like, I know.
And my wife's shaking her head.
I know I've been, lightly poor over the years, and what the hell would us Americans do without ramen?
Oh, tell me about it.
what would-
Half of my life has been ramen.
What would
man.
college
Oh
students
my
do
God.
without ramen?
Yeah.
It's
so-
like an addiction, ramen.
So, before we get back to
Actually, I
Juan,
had ramen this morning with two boiled eggs.
Nice.
hell yeah.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
I'm trying to eat them more Japanese style.
we were recently at Costco, and I almost picked up like the 12 pack of like the Tonkanotsu, and I was like, I could bake that. We got home, and I was like, I don't want to make it. I should just bought it.
Actually, but I gotta say, I ate the healthy ramen. Those new ones that just came out, I forgot what they're called. Sorry.
What makes it healthy? Is it less sodium?
Yeah, it's less
Oh.
salty and everything. It's
Oh.
it's mimu or mumu or something. I don't know.
Miso?
Yeah, I think that's what it. Not miso, but
Oh, I was about to say it's
Because
miso
miso's
ramen.
a soup.
I think it's like.
I was about to say if there's miso ramen, I gotta find this.
Yeah, miso
It's
soup
like
ramen. That'd be
M-I-M.
awesome.
M-I-I-M.
Are you trying to spell MSG?
No. no. But anyways, it's a new type of ramen that's supposed to be way healthier, and since I'm diabetic, I gotta find some ways to still get my noodle fix.
That's true. Not the last thing is we can go. I can wax poetic about this movie, but I will bring up one of my favorite points of this movie.
Well,
Is it-
same, but I already waxed about something else. So.
That's true. Yeah. For those of you who are playing that drinking game, Chunky Godzilla. But no, the hardest part about a Godzilla movie in my eyes is making you care about the humans. Like again, I'm gonna divert to the new Godzilla movies with King Kong. I don't give a damn about those people. I don't care about Monarch. I don't care about any of them. This movie makes you feel for the humans because honestly, when you guys watch a Godzilla movie, you put it on because it's Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was gonna say I always vote for Godzilla. I
So
always root for Godzilla. I'm
So-
sorry, it's just me.
no, and I'm right there with you because at the end of this movie, I was like, yay, they saved their country. Oh, Godzilla's dead. Yay, Godzilla's not dead. Like,
Yeah.
but it's so hard to be like, oh, here's these humans dealing with their piddly ass shit. There's this really big lizard fucking shit up. Like, I'm going for him. Like, the movie's called Godzilla, not Humans Meet Lizard. Like,
Humans meet lizard man. Yeah.
but I think this movie did that really well.
Yeah.
So kill count. You ready? I'm probably gonna mess this up.
This
but
is
I'm gonna
post
try.
World War II, before Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that bit out. That sounded racist. Go on.
Okay, yeah. So the kill count. I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong, but I believe it's 30,012. I don't know. I might be saying that wrong.
I'm gonna say around maybe 4,000 people died in this movie.
Well, because I was
Well, no,
gonna,
because
I wasn't gonna do,
30,012 because you said there was the news flash at one point that said 30,000.
right exactly. So
approximately,
yeah,
or whatever,
it was
yeah.
30,000, and then plus the 12 I counted that I was able to count.
Oh,
in the
on
movie.
in the beginning on Odo Island.
Yeah, well, on
Oda
Oda Island,
Island.
it was only actually 9 guys that died on that island. But then,
9?
as the movie
Yeah,
went,
'cause
I counted 12 more other
Takechi
than
Bana
the
and
30,000. Because when he got to starting stomping on people and stuff like that, I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna count. I'm not gonna pause this movie and count all the little people running around. But they actually said it in the movie, so I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, so it's 30,000 plus the 12 I counted.
My favorite non-main character in this movie was the news anchor that was on top of the building before it crashed.
Yeah.
If
oh,
that-
we are here. Da, da, da.
if that man would have survived, he would have been a martyr. He would have been a hero in Japan. That man would have. I would have just given him whatever news station that he worked at. Like, here's the building. This is yours now. It was peak. It was peak newscasting.
Plus 1 Godzilla.
Yeah, but he comes back.
Well, yeah, technically. So I guess technically he's
Well, wait,
not dead.
who
He
are
started
the-
regenerating.
Who are the other 3 after all the kamikaze plane attacks?
Oh, let's see. So it was the 9 at Kamikaze. Then I think it was one of the guys on the boat. I think died. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it again to actually.
There
tell
were
you
people on the
exactly
boat
who
that
the other
died.
12 was.
I think towards the end, when, like the boat scene, I think one of those
Oh.
boats does get
those are
destroyed.
the ones I
Yeah,
counted.
Their sister boat when they first start and
Right. Yeah,
Godzilla
that was
comes
where I think I got
for
the other
the
12.
wood like anti-mine boats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I got the other 12 from because I was like, oh wait a minute, in there like there should be like 4 men on each boat.
4 guys on
so
the one
when
that
he
dies.
destroyed that one boat, actually that's part of
Yeah,
one of the
when
12.
they first go out It's their 4 that's the main characters, and then the other 4, and that one just gets taken like,
So-
damn near right away.
Right, exactly. So that was part of the 12.
So that 4, yeah.
I don't remember all the names to the boats, but all the names of the boats in this movie, at least like the bigger boats, the bigger boats, were actual names of boats that were used during World War II.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The smaller boats, when they start running off,
Oh, the tugboats?
yeah, all those tugboats were actually Navy vessels in World War II.
Yeah.
Like same names and everything.
Yeah, like the Himakaze, like certain ones.
There was
like,
a
I
lot of
recognized
history in
them
this
from
movie.
my World War II buff weirdness.
When they saluted Godzilla dying, that is exactly what happened. And I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, but I believe it was the USS Johnson. When the Japanese destroyed that boat, they also saluted it. So it was a nod to what had actually happened, but this time it was just with. Also, it's crazy that Godzilla's head just like imploded. Like I get the mind, like I get what had happened, but in like black and white, it just his head, like the top of his head, just falls in.
Oh, really?
And I think in color it shows it a lot better. Obviously, shows it a lot better, and it's probably a little bit chunkier.
Yeah, the mine took a chunk out of like his eye and shit. Even.
But like that black and white version, it's just. I was like, oh, where'd the top of his head go?
Actually, could you even notice the rapid decompression symptoms in the black and white?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Again, because they did it shot by shot. So like seeing it, so in the black and white version when he regenerates, it just looks like they rewound the film.
That's
which
actually kind of funny though. Yeah.
And like it does what it looks like. Like oh. But yeah,
Talking
no,
about Chaplin. Rewind.
right. But no, again.
Did you just say be kind, rewind?
No, I said talk
Oh,
about
that's what I thought you
Chaplin.
said.
Rewind. Like the old stop motion
Right, yeah.
film and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The silent film thing. Yeah.
So I'll edit this bit out because I'll just say it. Let's just go into the ratings.
Yeah.
I can just wrap it up here. Or we'll wrap it up here. All right. So now we're going to get to our favorite part, the ratings, which we fixed from last week because my wife had an amazing idea. You can't give the same movie the same rating. You can't give two movies the same rating. We have to be fair about this.
Yeah.
Because when we watch shark movies, everything is getting 5 out of 5. But Monster Squad, for me, 5 out of 5 coffins. And it is purely because of the nostalgia. It is purely because that movie did a lot for me when I was younger, and it still continues to do. Like, I got to show my kids that movie. Like, that is on the same level of my daughter liking Chris Jericho as much as I was obsessed with him when I was younger. So just these full circle moments, and I understand, being a parent, that happens, but getting to show my kids this, and also at the end of June, it's not even October, and I'm showing my kids, Monster Squad. But yeah, I gave it 5 out of 5. What about you, Juan?
So
Halloween's all year, baby.
Summerween.
I got to say, actually, I'm gonna be a little critical of this movie. I do enjoy it because I'm from that time, so
Oh, no.
it was a great movie. I have to give it 3 coffins, and that's only because of what I mentioned earlier about the plot holes and all that stuff. I don't remember this movie having so many plot holes. Like, where did the father get the TNT?
Don't worry about that. He was a suburban dad. You leave him alone. But
yeah, 3 out of 5 coffins.
no, and I completely understand. I thought it would be like a Dave Meltzer women's wrestling match rating, 2.5 stars.
Yeah.
What about you, Justin?
I'm gonna have to go with getting engineering caught up with the coffins here, but 3.75 coffins.
Solid number ratings. I will throw this microphone at you.
Okay, then 3 3/4.
Stop with that solid number. It's either 3 or 4.
Well, you just did a half, didn't you?
No. I just made the joke about Meltzer.
Oh. Well, no, it didn't want to do a half?
Yeah, I did a half.
Oh, you did a half?
Yeah, and you didn't even say anything to him.
I didn't hear that. I will correct this. Juan, solid number sale.
Well, we're not going to have a lot of ratings if we can't repeat.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, fine. I will allow halves. I will take this whole bit out.
3.75 coffins. It was a very enjoyable 80 movie.
So wait. So if we're
Wait, okay. Can it be wrestling then? 3.99?
No. You can go with your 3.75. I just want to know why you won't give it the extra quarter.
I was going to get into a real, actual good reason for that.
Okay, what is
Okay.
it? Is it because the Wolfman got kicked in his nuts?
No.
Because
Because
nards?
Oh my God,
Nuts.
it is beyond comprehension an 80s movie, but for the whole like awareness, inclusion, blah blah blah.
Okay.
There was like several F double G's.
Okay. I will. Okay, that makes sense. I'll give it to you that.
I know it was the 80s and that was not discovered yet, but today's day, that's, like, earlier, I was even surprised that, like, Jeff said he cleared it with his kids, because he's got a couple young ones, but then I thought about it, I was like, it's just a goofy 80s movie with the Universal monsters in it, so it's fine. But, like, I don't know, I was thinking about that the whole time for some reason. Like, it detracted me from it somehow, even though I enjoyed my campy 80s Universal monster movie.
And do you honestly think the Bigs cared about what was said in that movie? I just wanted to see the monsters.
Oh, I know.
All right, let's get into Antlers. Because we're giving out quarters and halves here. I am going to give Coffin. Movie's not called Coffins, Jeff. I'm going to give Coffins 3.
Antlers.
No, I was gonna make a joke, but I'm gonna give Antlers 3 out of 5 coffins.
Okay.
Sorry, 3.5 out of 5 coffins. I enjoyed this movie. I really did. My issues with this movie were like just the loose threads and plot holes of just people gaining knowledge. I understand reading's a thing, but when did she have time to do that? I know she's a teacher. Fight me. But definitely 3.5 because of how this movie fucked me up. Again, being a parent and going through all of that. Not that my kids have been abused or anything like that. Just,
In my defense, since we keep talking about how this is my pick, it is literally just sitting in the middle of like fictional Oregon meth country, and like
true. And I understand like the demographic of like what it was, but just again,
and like me personally, I'm a cat dad, which I know is nowhere near the same damn thing, but I still have sympathy for children and like things that occur. It just. I mean, I'm also very desensitized from what I talked about during Godzilla. So,
but just like between you and Juan, like, you know our kids, like you've been around them for like the past 5 years.
Well, yeah, I felt it because of that. Yeah.
Just that alone.
Absolutely.
So what about you, Juan?
Antlers. I was gonna be honest with you. I was gonna give it a low rating, but I changed my mind. I'm actually gonna give it 4 coffins because it was a solid storyline. It was a decent monster. The only thing that kind of took away from the monster is when he had the face on. But other than that, I mean, the monster looks solid to me.
That made it creepier, Juan.
Yeah, well, it did, but I'm just saying, the monster itself was pretty good. Special effects, all that stuff, makeup, whatever you want to call it. Monster magic.
One that makes it infinitely more nuts too, because if it really is this like Native American vengeful amalgamation spirit that's like a deer / a vengeful spirit, like the fact that it just kept a human face when it transformed.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it went along with the legend.
Yeah,
everything that I know about a Wendigo, it matched up. That's the reason why I originally was gonna give it 2.5 stars, but coffins. Sorry, coffins. But like I said, 4 coffins.
Sorry, Siskel.
What'd you say?
I said sorry, Siskel.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Don't forget Eber.
That ending transformation though, like that thing held on to the very end, and I absolutely loved it. Justin, what's your rating?
So since I gave like 2 5s before we came up with this last week, I'm gonna go ahead and say 4.75 coffins.
This rating system is just like the points in Whose Line Is It Anyway. They do not matter, I promise you.
That's what I was assuming. And we can't do like Meltzer stars, so there's no point anyway.
No, not at all.
These coffins are totally our our own opinion.
Yes. Oh my God.
exactly.
If you haven't, and I'm not saying that anybody's stupid or anything, but if you have not figured out that these coffin ratings are not legit,
Right.
this is just personal to us. All right, let's get on to Godzilla -1
We did.
for the coffins.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'll gladly re-talk about that entire movie.
No, that's why I got excited for a second. We're going to go more Godzilla.
Hell yeah. I gave Godzilla -1 4 out of 5 coffins. And
For
I
a minute there, I thought you were going to say -1 coffin.
I should have. Just like the title. No, I absolutely not adore. This movie really set the bar for Godzilla movies, and which is kind of dumb to say because it came out a few years ago. But it definitely reinvented Godzilla and brought him to a new light, and it's weird. It's for this movie to be able to retcon Godzilla but still keep almost 75% of his legacy and just push it in a new direction. I absolutely love it. But previous Godzilla movies have my heart more than this does, but I cannot take anything away from this movie. Juan?
I gotta say that I didn't give this movie a very good rating, and it's not anything personal or anything like that. And it was a good movie; it was solid, but I only gave it 2 coffins.
Why?
Wow, I respect your opinion, and that
Like
you're
I said,
also
just
wrong.
my
But go on.
Just my opinion. I only gave it 2 coffins, and I really can't tell you why. It's just kind of have to do with what your wife said, is that we can't give them all the same ratings. So,
Okay.
not to blame your wife.
So
sorry.
so
Fine, I got broad shoulders. I can take it.
All right, but yeah. So I'm gonna stick to it. It's only 2 coffins for me. Sorry.
no.
Even
Was
though
it
I
like
do
the
love
flow
Godzilla
or
and I
something,
love Huh?
Like, did it flow weird to you or something?
I don't know. I guess you could say I had a problem with the fact that Godzilla kept regenerating is a little bit of a problem for me. And then the fact that, I forgot what you said the character's name was at the end. She came back and she's infected. I was like, come on. How's that going to go with if there's even a continuance?
In fairness...
Which is funny. I have a problem with some movies when it ends the way it does, when it makes you think there's going to be a part 2 and then part 2 never comes. Which
Like
I know you said
every
they're making another one.
like every Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, so they give you there might be a part 2, but then you never get a part 2. So I kind of had a problem with that too. With the whole thing
that
coming
is.
out,
You're
crawling
right.
up
That
her
is
neck.
like the what the hell anti-ish Brooksian trope that suddenly there's a second possible. Yeah, I get you.
Exactly.
I get you. Yeah.
So I'm sticking to it. Sorry, 2 coffins.
That is fair. I'm not mad about that.
If you haven't figured out the wrestling thing by now, we're all pretty damn big into wrestling. And love
Except
it.
Juan. Except
I mean,
am.
we're bringing him
Yeah.
along, Jeff. Calm down.
Yeah. Well, no, I was an old school wrestling fan.
calm down, bro.
So, 4.99 coffins.
You gotta remember, I came
Non-negotiable.
from a generation of junkyard dogs.
I love Godzilla, and this one actually gave me something that hit me over the head, unlike most past Godzilla movies, except for most of the originals, obviously.
What was your coffins again?
4.99.
999.
4.99.
Something about the 0.1.
Well, at least none of us gave it a 0.1 coffin or -1 coffin.
I'd like to change my answer to -1 coffins.
Yeah, -1 coffin.
Just
for the sake of the movie's promotion.
right, but no, that's completely fair. I'm with it. And again, it's all of our opinions, our own opinions. But that leads me into our next episode. Not right, not you two, but anybody that's out there that wants to interact with us. I'd like to know if you have any summer camp stories. Because I never went to any summer camps.
Inclusivity that goes for band camps,
Oh,
shop
yeah,
camp,
yeah.
like
If there was-
everything.
If there was a camp in the summer and you went to it, and if you want to tell us about it, please do. I'd love to hear your stories, and then we
Yes,
can
and
talk
please
about.
start
Wait,
the
why
story
did Beth
with
just give me a
this
weird
one
look?
time
There was
at
like-
band camp.
There was legitimately
that'd
like
be so
shop class
sick.
camps in the summertime.
There was.
I went to one.
I went to a summer camp for a
Like
day
technical camps, basically.
at like my
Like
high
space
school.
camp, except for building stuff or some shit.
Sorry, I thought you said fat camp.
No,
I was just thinking nobody wants to relive their trauma.
no.
Sorry.
So yeah, any kind of
said
camp that you
shop
guys went
camp.
to, if you
Like
guys
technical
want,
They never
camp.
sent me one. Sent me to one. A fan camp.
but yeah, if you have any summer camp stories, we'd like to hear them, and that kind of gives away what the next episode's gonna be about. But I'm not telling you all the movies, so
And then, like I said, make sure you title it "This One Time at Band Camp."
that's a good idea.
Oh, also, it's none of them are Jason because we're
yeah,
not goofy
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, so Jason will not be part of the summer camp thing. We
Even
will.
though we know it's Camp Crystal Lake. Haha.
We will eventually do a Jason episode. So to wrap this lovely episode up, if you like anything that we're doing, please, it'll be in the description of anywhere that I post this, but check out Spotify, check out YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts from, wherever, just all of that. Please interact with us. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd really appreciate it.
Follow, like.
Subscribe, I think. All those things.